Well, good afternoon and welcome to Asylum Hill Congregational Church. My name is Reverend Erica Thompson. I'm the senior minister here at this church, and it is good at times like this for us to be together, for us to gather in community with whatever emotions we bring, to be able to share in music and in memory, in song and in tears, in laughter, to be able to share together, to be able to lay down some of our sorrow, and to be able to bear our joy together. And there is precedent, my friends. There is precedent from thousands of years ago when a prophet named Isaiah spoke to a community he was gathered with, a community that was in great pain, was enduring great suffering, was a community that was in sorrow. And the prophet said to his people, comfort my people, says your God. Speak tenderly to the heart, that they may know their sin is forgiven, their iniquity pardoned. Comfort my people, says your God. Today, we gather. It is 2021, not thousands of years ago. But we are much like that same community to which Isaiah spoke. People, individuals in need of comfort, in need of a comforting touch, in need of a comforting word, which is what I hope that each and every one of you feels and experiences today in this place. I want to acknowledge today that there are maybe a lot of competing emotions. This is a day where we celebrate a life well lived, and yet it is a day in which we come to say goodbye in a way that feels so very final. And so there's a tension that we wrestle with. But I also want to be really clear about something else. Not one of you here today, not one of you is here because Philippa Scott died. Each and every one of you is here because she lived. Because she lived, and she lived in such a way that her love and her passion and her energy and her laughter touched you in ways that may be known and in ways that we may still discover. But we are here together to celebrate what we call life, to celebrate all that Philippa was and is and will forever be in your lives and in this world. I also want to acknowledge that because of who Philippa was, she has gathered together a beautiful tapestry of people. I would invite you to just look around for a moment. Just look at each other. This is her doing. This is her doing. I know that some of you identify as Christians. Some of you are people of other faith traditions. And some of you may connect with the world in ways that are spiritual and maybe not so religious. but I want to assure you that each of you is welcome in this space of sanctuary, wherever you are on life's journey. This is a space where we find comfort together today. I also want to acknowledge and welcome those who are live streaming, and there are as many of you as are in this sanctuary. There are probably as many folks that are live streaming and connecting with us virtually. I want to welcome Philippa's mother and brother and family in England. I want to welcome those of you from Philippa's dog rescue family in Texas. I want to welcome those of you in Tokyo and those of you who are connecting across the United States and Canada. We hope that you as well find these moments of great comfort and love. We go back to the prophet's words. Comfort. Comfort my people, says our God. Let us pray. God of creation, we acknowledge that like grass, we too flourish briefly and fade too soon. We acknowledge that sometimes, even in spite of our faith and in the power of your love, our sense of loss can overcome us. So we ask in these sacred moments of community that you would come to us with comfort and hope, reminding us of those things which cannot perish, your love and our love for one another. Draw close to each one here with a word of hope, a sense of peace, and deepen our faith that indeed nothing can ever separate us, not even death, from your presence and mercy. Come, Spirit of our ancestors, and make this prayer alive in each of us today. Amen.
Didn't know today would be our last, or that I'd have to say goodbye to you so fast. I'm so numb I can't feel anymore. I'm praying you just walk back through that door and tell me that I was only dreaming. You're not really gone as long as I believe. There will be another angel around the throne tonight. Your love lives on inside of me, and I will hold on tight. It's not my place to question, only God knows why. I'm just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight. Always made my troubles feel so small, and you were always there to catch me when I'd fall. In a world where heroes come and go, well, God just took the only one I know. So I'll again. But until then, God must need another angel around the throne tonight. Your love lives on inside of me, and I will hold on tight. It's not my place to question, only God knows why. I'm just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight, singing hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. I'm just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight.
I would like to now invite Sarah Copley forward as well as Diane Phoenix. Sarah is going to read for us
We are going on a family vacation. Oh my gosh, you guys. I am so excited for this. First of all, thank you so much to Verbo for setting this up and sponsoring this trip for us. Raul and I were actually thinking of doing some kind of baby moon where we just drive somewhere and get away.
Amy and Philippa and get to watch the wonderful love they had for each other. I chose a poem about rainbows because I know that Philippa is watching all her fur babies who have crossed the Rainbow Bridge now. Time for me to go now. I won't say goodbye. Look for me in rainbows way up in the sky. In the morning sunrise, when all the world is new, just look for me and love me, as you know I loved you. Time for me to leave you. I won't say goodbye. Look for me in rainbows high up in the sky. In the evening sunset, when all the world is through, just look for me and love me, and I'll be close to you. It won't be forever. The day will come, and then my loving arms will hold you when we meet again. Time for us to part now. We won't say goodbye. Look for me in rainbows shining in the sky. Every waking moment and all your whole life through, just look for me and love me as you know I loved you. Just wish me to be near you, and I'll be there with you.
Diane.
I feel undeserved but honored to be reading a letter from Philippa's mom, Rita Scott, who was also part of our family here in Connecticut when she came to visit with Scotty. So Philippa, here's for your mom and Rita. We love you. First of all, I want to thank everyone for the cards, letters, and messages. They've been a great comfort to me. What to say about my daughter, Philippa? She was a force of nature and always knew her own mind from an early age, as her dad, Graham, and I knew. She liked tennis, squash, and netball, and many others, but hockey was her love. She went to Swindon Dorkin College. In one of her newspaper cuttings, she said, "I played center half but moved to goalkeeper. not because I was lazy, but because it was more interesting. I used to go to Dorkin on Sunday to watch her play. We sat and ate our sandwiches. I loved being with all her teammates. She played hockey for England under 18s, went to Paris and Canada with the under 21 team. She loved Cagney and Lacey and went to London and met Sharon Gless, who was on a chat show. We thought she might end up in the New York police. Got a place in college in Massachusetts, wasn't happy, wanted to come home, but just as we sorted it out, she changed her mind. The rest is history. She had her ups and downs over there, but I would like to thank Gary, Dodie, and family, and Diane, Bob, and family for being there for her all these years, her American family. I felt so welcome at your homes when I came over. Thank you. Thanks also to you, Dan, for putting up with her untidiness all these years. She loved her softball and all her mates. I loved it when Philippa took me with her. She enjoyed teaching at her school and the friends she had there. Her dogs were her life, not only hers, but also the abandoned ones she found homes for. I think the last few years she seemed really happy, bought her beautiful house, and found Amy. Thank you, Amy. We talk nearly every day on Messenger. She showed me her dogs, especially her new little one. I showed her Jed, my cat. She always signed off, "Love you, Mom." Love you, Philippa, Mom, and Graham.
Thank you, Diane. I'd like to now invite 3 people forward who will share with us their own remembrances from summer camp, from school, and remembrances as friends. Maggie, Tiffany, Cindy, Myra, please.
For those of you who don't know me, my name's Maggie Stevens, and I had the honor of working every summer with Scotty during my 18 to 20-somethings. Perhaps regrettably, this is not a secret tryst story, but it has a lot to do with love. In all humans, the heart is the first organ to develop. When an embryo is made up of only a very few cells, each cell can get the nutrients it needs directly from its surroundings. But as the cells divide and multiply to form a growing ball, it soon becomes impossible for nutrients to reach all the cells efficiently without help. Thus, the first organ system to develop is the heart, pumping life into its body. The heart continues carrying out this same vital job throughout our lives. And Philippa embodied this metaphorical heart first. She led with her heart in all things, reaching out to transfer relentlessly the love to whomever she encountered, because they were part of her. From the late 90s through the early first decade of the 2000s, every summer, Scotty worked as the adaptive phys ed teacher, pool boss, carriage house resident, shared only with Atticus, her other pups, and the discerning 20-something staff members, field trip chaperone, especially for all things ice cream related, at the Eden Wawa Education and Retreat Center in Chaplin, Connecticut. This was and was not your typical camp experience. All our campers, mostly boys, age 7 to 21, had autism and other co-occurring disabilities or medical conditions. Through the efforts of the Eden Autism Services based in Princeton, New Jersey, the camp sought to continue learning for these individuals while simultaneously creating an authentic camp experience. Scotty helped us all feel like we were really at camp. We had to get in the pool and swim. No matter how cold the pool was, everyone gets in. Scotty made the absolute best human Sunday. She was decked out in a trash bag and goggles, and every summer it seemed increasingly covered in more gooey and sticky toppings. I can still remember her laughter. She played an ever-convincing creature from the pool lagoon for our Halloween in July. Nearly every weekend and most evenings, you could always see Scotty with Atticus at her side, driving the golf cart, perhaps a little precariously around the property of the camp. One thing to know about people with autism is they have an excellent bullshit detector. And these kids were drawn to Scotty. She always spoke to them as people. She challenged them and loved them and told them when they were being annoying teenagers. They could see the heart-first life embodied within her without pretense or fear. We had hosted weekly camp dances, did arts and crafts, of which Scotty was not a fan of making, but would proudly wear any bracelets made for her, especially from her favorite campers like Maddie, with whom she would affectionately vocally stim, making his signature lee, lee, lee sounds. And when it came to those special students, Scotty would jump at the chance to prepare Maddie's special meals and sit with him when we roasted marshmallows, and always spend extra attention and care in both positive guidance and play with those guys. And always her compassion shined through. It was more than just her heart on her sleeve. Scotty always had 10 times more patience for the nonverbal kids like Maddie than us annoying 20-somethings who wanted to drink in the carriage house on our nights off. She was so protective of all people who couldn't advocate for themselves. Even when the world seemed like too much and the hearts of others had hardened beyond what she had hoped they would, Scotty would always be there for anyone in her quiet and unassuming way. I know I'm supposed to only focus on the words around camp life, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention that once you were Scotty's people, you were in, and that's it. After Eden, Connecticut closed and Scotty went on to start her animal rescue, we kept in touch via social media. In 2012, I adopted my first family dog, Merrick, from Atticus Rescue, and it was one of Scotty's first rescues too. And he brought so much life to our lives for the last 9 years. I've shared pictures, but we hadn't really talked too much, and then I started getting panic attacks and posted something on Facebook to that effect. Later that day, she texted me and called me and talked me through some strategies that she had learned about her own anxiety. And even in her moments of darkness and challenge, she was still able to reach up and out to extend a quiet and humble hand of grace and healing, heart first. On behalf of her Eden family, Katie and Nicole and Joanne and Steph and Aaron and Jeff and Rachel and all the other summer and long-term Eden staff, thank you, Scotty, for sharing your heart with us first and always. And I hope you know how much your hard work laid that blanket of comfort over those campers and of your colleagues alike in Eden, Connecticut.
Hi, I'm Tiffany Coette. I've known Philippa for 12 years, I think. It's an honor to be here. Philippa was hired as a health and physical education teacher at South Windsor High School in January 2009. I remember exactly where I was sitting on that day in the conference room when we interviewed her for the position. I was an associate principal, and we had already interviewed several candidates, and we were not feeling hopeful for finding a strong candidate at that point in the year. I remember being so impressed with her during the interview. She was articulate, knowledgeable, and passionate about her field. She was the whole package. When she left the room, the three of us on the hiring committee looked at each other and just smiled. It was one of those moments you dream about in the hiring process. Those of you who worked with Philippa might be surprised to see me standing up here. Philippa didn't always see eye to eye with administration, and I was no exception. But even when we disagreed, it was with respect for each other and because of our passion for what we both believed in. And from that, our friendship was born. A few years after I met her, Philippa and I were talking about dogs, a passion of hers that I think everyone has heard of. I think I said something like, if you ever need a foster. And within a day, maybe two, I had a dog at my house. That was the first of many fosters over the years. Myrick, who Maggie mentioned, was one of my first fosters. We bonded over common loves, dogs and black licorice being two of them. And in between the chats and picking up foster dogs, I came to learn what an amazing human she was. Over the years, bags of black licorice would show up in interoffice mail with little notes for me. It was as though she always knew when I needed a smile. Secretaries and others at our central office have told me that she always stopped to talk to them when she was in the building. If someone, somewhere, in district needed something, Philippa was there. Whether it was sending a card, giving a little gift, or donating to a cause, she was always looking out for others. She was a great role model for all students on how to be an empathetic, kind, and caring member of the school community. She was dedicated to her craft. She approached teaching, writing curriculum, and lesson planning very seriously. This was particularly evident in her work supporting students in adaptive PE. For those who are unfamiliar, adaptive PE is a physical education class which has been adapted or modified so that it is as appropriate for a person with a disability as it is for a person without a disability. It's challenging to plan and teach. She made it appear effortless. She loved what she taught. She practiced what she preached. She stayed active herself outside of school, and she was always a role model for student athletes. Additionally, Philippa cared about the topic of mental health, the importance of its recognition, the importance of weaving it into the field, and the importance of our mindfulness of it for both students and adults. And when she knew a student was struggling, Philippa went the extra mile. A former student shared with me that she was the one who led the discussion for his capstone presentation. She admired his passion for music and complimented not only his ability to learn to make the music, but the journey he took throughout the project and how he overcame obstacles. She appreciated the process of the project more than the end goal. That was Philippa in a nutshell, the process. It was always about the process. She didn't care if a student got an A. She wanted the student to learn and use the skills and knowledge that they had learned in their life moving forward. Philippa was a person who had very strong beliefs and convictions. The word headstrong comes to mind. But isn't that what we all want in a friend? Someone who'll stand by their beliefs, and be with us through thick and thin. For this, I am thankful and honored to have known her, and I'm proud to have called her a friend. Many of us miss her dearly every day. But I know she would want us, all of us, to continue her legacy of kindness, generosity, and empathy for others. So I encourage you all to do this. Leave here today, do something kind for someone. Send a card to someone who's homebound. Donate to a charity. Volunteer to help a nonprofit. Or see me if you want to foster a dog. Make the world a better place. Do better. Be better. Do it in honor of Philippa.
I'm a little taller than the others. When someone you love becomes a memory, that memory becomes a treasure. Our family's relationship with Scotty was just that, a treasure, and one that we will cherish and forever keep in our hearts. With that, let me take a moment to introduce ourselves to you. My name is Cindy Cox. This is my partner, Myra Wall, and our children, if you can stand up. This is Kaylee, who's 16, and Jack, who's 14. I'm honored to speak at this service for our dear friend Philippa, or Scotty, as many of us would call her. Just a little history about how our family fit into Scotty's life. I met Scotty in 1988, over 30 years ago. She was a goalie being recruited to play at the University of Massachusetts at the time I was leaving UMass. I was asked to show her around campus. And I remember being so impressed and intrigued by this player that was coming from across the pond, and by that British accent of hers. As you know, Scotty went on to play field hockey at UMass and was, of course, a star defending the goal. Scotty and I came in and out of each other's lives for many years as we both moved through our 20s and 30s. I remember vividly when she came back into my life in 2002. Myra and I had just moved to Connecticut from Indiana, and we had no friends in the area. We happened to be shopping at Bob's Discount Furniture, where all lasting friendships start. And it was there that we ran into Scotty and her dear friend, Ann Krosky. I was struck by how quickly and genuinely both Ann and Scotty welcomed us to Connecticut and helped us to acclimate. Fast forward to 2005 and 2007, we had two children, Kaylee and Jack. And at that point, Scotty truly became part of our family. From the time the kids were born, Scotty was nearly a constant presence in our lives. We all know that Scotty beamed when she was around children. She was truly at ease holding them, reading with them, laughing with them, and acting silly and childlike. She truly connected with children. Scotty would come by the house quite often for dinner, and she was always bringing us tomatoes and cucumbers from the garden at the home she shared with Dan. That's probably one of the things the kids remember most about Scotty is the tomatoes and cucumbers, and probably why Kaylee is now a vegan. So thank you, Scotty, for that. It's very easy. She was always welcome in our home, and she knew that. She even had her own key. She and her mom, Rita, hi Rita, they even came to visit us in California when we were out there for a few years. And every Christmas, for many years, Scotty would always give the kids the same gift. It was a map of the United States where you put quarters in all the different states. And it was a lot of fun for Scotty and the kids because they'd work on it all year of collecting the quarters, and it was just a thing that they did together. I remember the kids, and me too, actually, we got such a kick out of it when Scotty would dance. Okay, so for those of you that were lucky enough to experience this, she'd do the lawnmower, the sprinkler, and my personal favorite was the shopping cart. It makes me smile just thinking of all the times she'd show off the dance moves and all the times the kids would ask her to do it. Through the years, one of our kids' first questions when we were going on vacation or an outing of any sort was, "Is Scotty coming?" And most times we would say yes, and they would say yay. She was always there for us, for the kids, for our family. She would show up at their baseball, soccer, flag football recitals. It didn't matter, Scotty would be there. It was truly like they were her kids as well, and she loved them that way. Myra and I have many funny stories and memories with Scotty as well. Myra worked with Scotty at her dog daycare in the summers, and the front desk staff would all sing 80s songs aloud and would have to stop when Scotty would sing all the wrong words. For instance, Hold Me Closer, Tiny Dancer was Hold Me Closer, Tony Danza, where Scotty was concerned. She would belt out the lyrics with confidence, and they would all bust out laughing. For me, she was always my protector. When I was home alone, whether it was the late night frantic calls when I saw a mouse in the house and needed it humanely removed that instant, or I needed her to investigate the mystery package that was left on my porch late at night in October, she comes to the house, she races over, comes to the house, she gets the package off the door, comes into the house with that huge Scotty smile and says, "I think you're gonna be fine. You got booed." Okay, I had no idea what it meant to get booed, so I was quite sure that it was a plot to get into the house and murder me. So she headed home, mission accomplished. Our family now lives in Florida, and our daughter Kaylee goes to boarding school at Miss Porter's in Farmington. And Scotty was truly Kaylee's Connecticut mom. Every single time we came to Hartford, Scotty would always meet us for dinner and come to our room at the Delamar and just hang out for hours, drinking their coffee, which she loved, laughing and just catching up. She always made time for this, for us, and for Kaylee. And just recently, we were in Boston and decided to catch a Red Sox game. Myra couldn't come, so she called Scotty and asked if she wanted to join us. As always, we gave Scotty maybe 20 hours notice. It didn't matter. She jumped in her car and headed to Boston, and we remember vividly seeing her across the street. We all had smiles, the kids and myself, ear to ear, as we raced over to give her hugs. What a great night. We took some photos that our family will cherish forever, because little did we know that would be the last time we would see Scotty, and that was July 9th of this year. I've heard it said that the measure of love you have for someone is the pain you feel in their absence. While I know that Scotty will never be absent from our lives, our family, like everyone here, it's certainly devastating. Let me end by saying this to Scotty, who I know is here with us today. Scotty, you will always be part of our family. Thank you for your kindness, your playfulness, your compassion, and most of all, your love. You have left an indelible imprint on our children's lives, and they are and will be better adults because of you. Scotty, your smile is a window to your heart. As brightly as your smile warmed a room, your heart touched so many people, as evidenced here today, and we love you.
You mist of cover. You belong in that home by and by. You belong among the wildflowers. You belong somewhere close to me, far away from your trouble and worry. You belong somewhere you feel free. You belong somewhere
Hi, I'm Philippa Scott. I started Atticus Legacy about 4 years ago and saw the need to start a rescue to help get a lot of dogs out of kill shelters in Texas. And from there, Atticus Legacy was born, and this past year, we rescued over 367 dogs from Texas kill shelters.
I'll be kind if you'll be faithful, you be sweet and I'll be grateful. Cover me with kisses, dear, lighten up the atmosphere. Keep me warm inside our bed, I got dreams of you all through my head. Fortune tell us that I'd be free, and that's the day you came to me. Came to me. Come to me, my sweetest friend. Can you feel my heart again? I'll take you back where you belong, and this'll be your favorite song. Come to me with secrets bare. I love you more, so don't be scared. And when we're old and near the end, we'll go home and start again. I caught you burning photographs like that could save you from your past. History is like gravity, it holds you down away from me. You and me, we both got sins, and I don't care about where you've been. Don't be sad and don't explain, this is where we start again. Start again. Come to me, my sweetest friend. Can you feel my heart again? I'll take you back where you belong, and this'll be your favorite song. Come to me with secrets bare. I love you more, so don't be scared. And when we're old and near the end, we'll go home and start again. Start Today's the day I'll make you mine, so get me to the church on time. Take my hand in this empty room, you're my girl and I'm your groom. Come to me, my sweetest friend, this is where we start again. Come to me, my sweetest friend. Can you feel my heart again? I'll take you back where you belong, and this'll be your favorite song. Come to me with secrets bare. I love you more, so don't be scared. When we're old and near the end, we'll go home and start again. Start
What a beautiful tribute. I'd like to now invite two friends, Brooke and Gary, forward to share their own remembrances.
Hi. I decided to
Scotty came into our lives. Okay. Scotty came into our lives like she probably did for most of you, because of a dog. But she didn't just show up. She blew in a cloud of dust, wearing mesh shorts, flip-flops, a t-shirt covered in dog hair, and a little bit frazzled. It wasn't long after meeting her that she just sort of became our Scotty. When we lived in Hartford, Brian joked he was always cooking dinner for 3. So clearly if she wasn't at our house, she was with Myra and Cindy. Brian didn't just cook for 3, he planned our weekly menus on what Scotty ate and liked, not what I liked, and he always made enough for her to take home leftovers. They say that dogs are the best judges of character, and I never saw a dog that did not love Scotty. I think they loved her because her nature was a lot like theirs. She was mostly agreeable, didn't ask many questions of people, and passed little to no criticism of anyone. She carried that British demeanor to her core. She loved being a Brit, or a limey, as Brian called her. She may have been far away from home, but it lived in her heart. She often spoke to us about her mom and would be so excited when she would receive a package of sweets from across the pond. She and Brian would argue about which ones were their favorites, and she was always willing to share a few pieces of candy with him, but only just a few. We went on countless adventures together. We rode motorcycles in the hills of northern Connecticut. We would take the dogs on trail hikes. We would go kayaking, and we even went whitewater rafting. She was always up for any kind of outdoor fun. Scotty always laughed at Brian's sarcastic remarks and would give it right back to the bald guy. She and I would sit and talk for hours, and Brian would say, "Seriously, what could the two of you possibly have to say to each other?" But we never ran out of things to say. When Amy called to tell us of Scotty's passing, we were clearly in shock. Not realizing the rest of her network and community would take to social media to try to express their shock and grief, I went to Facebook and watched in awe as these heartfelt tributes started pouring in. It was obvious that people from all over the globe truly loved her. In her own quiet, unassuming way, she changed the world by doing one small thing at a time. Saving countless dogs, doing something nice for somebody, remembering an important date for someone, sending a quote of encouragement when someone was going through a hard time, or just finding a way to let people know she was there. When we told Scotty that I had been diagnosed with breast cancer, she stepped into high gear. She started sending me inspirational quotes and videos and text messages, and she made this t-shirt with puffy paint that said "Brooke Strong," and she actually wore it, not just for a photo, like she wore it out around town. She didn't care that it looked ridiculous. She just wanted me to laugh. I reached out to Scotty the day before we were putting Harley, or Harley Barley, as she called her to sleep. She helped raise Harley, so we knew she would understand what it meant to make this decision for our girl. Her response was exactly what you would have expected. She blamed herself for not getting to see Harley one last time. She asked us to give Harley the biggest hug and to tell her that her Scotty would always, always love her. Then she stayed up all night worrying about me and Brian. We texted that night back and forth, reminiscing about Kara and Carrie and Harley running around at the camp like crazy. Harley was one of the only dogs that they tolerated being in their space besides Stan's pups. We laughed at our memories and cried through our tears. She reminded us that day of a saying: "There is only one bad day with a dog, the day you say goodbye." I think that's true of our friendship with Scotty, too. She left this world better than she found it. She proved it's not what you take from this life that matters. It is what you leave behind when you go that does. Scotty left a legacy of love, support, and caring, and we can only hope that we've learned enough from her to carry it on. We are lucky enough to have known our Scotty for 15 years. We got to enjoy so many happy times together and watched her live the small aspects of life. She was sort of willing to share the major headlines with people, like, "Yeah, I played field hockey. Yes, I like working with young people. I love the water and sailing. I love to travel. I help to rescue dogs when I can. You know, the big headline kind of stuff. But getting to know the small print of her life was only for the select few that she let close. You kind of had to wait to learn things about her. She definitely didn't give it all up on the first date. She was a little like an onion. Getting through the layers took time and trust. Not everybody knew the same Scotty. She was really good at keeping people compartmentalized. However, I am sure we would all say some of the same things about her because it's just who she was. She did not like to burden people with her problems. She kept most things pretty close to her chest. She could close you out and very rarely spoke about her emotions. And there were times where she should have asked for more help, when she needed the support of others to face her challenges. She was brave and fought hard to find a way to live life to the fullest, even when staying home and away from everyone seemed like a better answer. In many ways, that changed when she found Amy. I call Amy Scotty's magical missing piece. Amy, we know the last month has been so hard, but we hope that over time, the pain of these last weeks will start to fade and all your beautiful memories will come to the forefront. In some crazy way, I'll look back on this time and remember it as a time when our friendship was born. It has been an honor to spend time talking to you, learning all about your love story with Philippa from your perspective. She was right. You are beautiful, you are smart, and you are super fun. And you really did prop her up and understand her and her complicated ways. The place she holds in your heart and the one you held in hers is a sacred place, one of truth and friendship. To have been allowed to witness the love you two shared in person was a gift. Scotty beamed when she was with you. The security, peace, and laughter you brought to Philippa's life made us so happy. You two had a love that grew deeper and stronger over time, and Amy, that's true love, the kind of love that remains worth this unimaginable pain. Scotty, this is where it has to end for us now. Like a conversation to be continued that I pray we get to pick up sometime again down the road. Until then, I will keep mental notes of all the things I want to share with you. Imagine how much we will have to talk about when we get to see each other again. I will carry your memory in my heart. I am thankful I got to call you a friend, and I feel lucky that Harley brought you into our lives. You know the bald guy wouldn't be satisfied if he didn't have the last word. So to you, our sweet friend, may the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face and the rain fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the hollow of his hand. We love you.
Excuse me. My friend, who was so full of life, so full of humor, with a smile that was contagious, is gone. Some of you knew Philippa for many years, and some of you knew her for just a short while. It's obvious though, she meant enough for you here to come to say goodbye. I met my dear friend the summer of 2000. She moved next door to us and would frequently visit our back deck. My wife Dodie, my children Zoe and Sam, and I quickly became good friends. Our Weimaraners loved her, and she them, except Jenny would nip her on the butt cheek occasionally, a habit we could not correct. Philippa was like a big sister to my children and a little sister to my wife Dodie and I. Her family, her mom Rita and her older brother Graham, lived in England and didn't travel to the US very often. and Philippa kept in constant communication with her mom and would tell us stories of her gardening and missing seeing her. Philippa in the past could not tolerate plane travel. Her mom, Rita, told me since Philippa was a teen, she wanted to live in the United States. Rita called us her new U.S. family, and that we were. Philippa was always part of our family functions, celebrations, holiday parties, birthday parties, and all of our special events, or just family dinner and Sunday breakfast on our deck or at Gold Rock for an onion and cheese omelet, and the East-West Grill for Thai breakfast. Our refrigerator, our couch, and our high-definition widescreen surround sound TV, HBO, Showtime, Netflix, and televised soccer games were always at home to her. We kept Snapple, peach iced tea, on hand, no ice, and made sure she was always invited to meals that respected her vegetarian diet. Her favorites were my smoked baby back pork ribs and double-thick pork chops. My kitchen provided a veggie-religious absolution on just those days. I was honored to be Philippa's self-described big brother, dad. She confided in me, trusted me with her most personal problems, no matter how delicate they were. Philippa hated injections, so I was at every appointment, occasional minor surgery, or an emergency room visit for a sports injury or a dog bite. She knew she could come to me and I would be honest in opinion, or I would help her seek a solution to an issue. As for personal hygiene, we would frequent the nail salon down the street for pedicures. Thanks to my friend, I have some good-looking feet and toes. Even with Philippa's busy schedule, she volunteered to help Dodie and I run the concession stand for our softball league on busy days and jamborees. She loved the kids and the chicken breast with cheese sandwiches I'd always have ready for her. Philippa's dogs, Carrie, 15, and Kara, 17, now live with us. They're happy and they've settled right in. Went out for a walk and we passed their old home, which was right next door. And they stop and give a quick stare. Philippa would be happy to know they're with us. Philippa's love for dogs and her Philippa's love for dogs was undeniable. Her passion, as you know, she worked night and day to save lives and place thousands of dogs. Her humanity was undying. To Philippa's students, some of you know Philippa as Miss Scott, your teacher, coach, ref, mentor. Philippa loved to teach and develop a sense of health and activeness in children and young adults. Look around you. These are the people that she made impressions on and felt a need to come here today and show tribute to her life and endeavors. She didn't virtue signal. She didn't sing her own praises. She didn't do for herself. She truly did for others and the most vulnerable. Miss Scott was a person to emulate. And to my new friend, Amy, I'm so very sorry you only got to share a brief part of her history. I've never seen Philippa so happy and so confident about her future. She loved you so much, and she looked forward to traveling to Texas to be with you by plane. You know what a big deal plane travel was for her to overcome. For you, she found it easy to do. She had such plans to be with you forever. So goodbye, dear friend. I'll never hear your Scooby-Doo ringtone on my phone, or when you texted Scooby-Doo. I still catch myself wanting to send her a meme, and will never hear my wife yell at us for an inappropriate poopy joke in mixed company. I'm proud and honored to have known and loved my little sister, Philippa Scott, and to share a part of her life. Thank you.
Hi. I decided to write my words down and to record them at home in case Saturday was too hard for me, so this is my plan B. I'm Amy, and Philippa was my person. Our relationship was completely unexpected and completely life-altering. Philippa and I were different in so many ways, but somehow when we met, it was like two puzzle pieces that finally found each other. We'd marvel that somehow two people 2,000 miles apart experienced such a magnetic connection. I believe that the universe has a hand in bringing lives together, and I know that we were always destined to meet. I remember the very first time I talked to her. It was a phone call, May 1st, 2015. I just picked up 2 dogs from the shelter, and I called to talk to her just to come up with a game plan. She was just wrapping up a golf game in Connecticut. It was a typical dog rescue conversation, except that when I hung up the phone, I was completely taken aback at the way it made me feel. My inner voice stopped me and said, wait, what was that? That charisma that so many people knew, it affected me times 1,000. And that was the beginning of our relationship. We went on to have hundreds of hours of phone conversations the next 15 months. There was just a deep connection I can't explain. I've never had that connection with anyone, but it was undeniable. When we finally got to meet in person, I'll never forget pulling up to the Austin airport to pick her up. Here she comes down the sidewalk, beaming that vibrant smile, walking towards me, and my heart lit up and my inner voice said, there she is, finally. And she was dressed in a typical Philippa outfit, which was a gray t-shirt and mesh workout shorts, and her hair was like a total mess. She told me she'd been sleeping on the plane. I was, of course, in a well-planned out outfit for the meeting. So I was laughing inside thinking, she didn't even brush her hair to meet me. That's so funny. But how great is that she was so unaffected by meaningless things like what we wear or what we look like. That was just quintessential Amy Philippa, and we had many moments like that in the coming years. That was the essence of Philippa. She was just pure and simple and could care less about the things that complicate life. My favorite things about her was her gentle and understanding nature. She never once asked me to change or be anything different than exactly what I was. She never complained about my busy life or my time constraints. And she was always just happy to spend time together, even if that meant she had to wait for me. She was completely supportive of me in every way, and she really loved that I was a mom. And she always wanted me to spend time with my kids, even if that meant our time might be cut short. My second favorite thing about our relationship was all the moments we spent laughing, like the kind of laughing where your ears sound like you're underwater and your stomach hurts. I'll really miss that. After we met in person, there was simply no denying that we needed to be together. The next 5 years were a beautiful collection of beloved memories and joy. I'm so blessed that I had the experience of a love that was nothing short of magical. A love that was sometimes complicated, but always true. Our last summer together, we hiked through wildflower fields in the mountains of Big Sky, Montana. We fly fished and we whitewater rafted Gallatin River. We were so blessed to travel and experience some of the most beautiful places in our years together. I'll miss Philippa every day for the rest of my life. There are days this pain feels insurmountable. However, I know that Philippa would want us all to live life to its fullest and not to be sad forever. I take comfort in the fact that she was so loved and that her spirit and her essence will live on in all of our wonderful memories of her. In closing, as she once said to me, Amy, we need to live for moments that we can't put into words. Philippa, you gave that to me and so much more. Thank you.
Friends, I want to share with you now a biblical story. And it is a story from the Gospel of John. And it is a story about Jesus hanging out with his disciples, those whom he loved most in the world. And this is a story that comes very near to the end of his life. And Jesus was trying in this story to prepare his beloveds for what he knew was coming. It's a story of foreshadowing. And he begins to talk sort of in riddles, talking about seeing his disciples and then not seeing his disciples, and that he would then see them again. And as humans, his disciples were really, really confused. And they said to Jesus, we really don't know what you're talking about. This seeing and not seeing and seeing again, it makes no sense. And this is how I know the Gospels were written by men. There's a recorded conversation that Jesus has where he tells his disciples, men, that this is like giving birth. This is Jesus, a man, talking to other men and using the analogy or the image of giving birth. But Jesus says that what he's talking about is in that sense of giving birth, where there is pain, and it is difficult, and there is struggle, and there is pain. But that once a person gives birth, and the miracle of that life is with them. The pain and the struggle and the hardship is but a memory. Because what you have is that life and that love in your hands. And at the end of this recorded conversation that Jesus is having with his disciples, he says this. He says, "Beloveds, you have pain now, but I will see you again, and your hearts will rejoice, and then no one will take your joy from you." Philippa, Amy, over the last several weeks, in preparing for this, and for preparing for this moment, Amy and I have been talking a lot about the why. And maybe some of you here have that same question. That why? Why did this happen? As has been proclaimed by so many who love Philippa. She was a good person. She was an amazing human being who did so many good and right and beautiful things in this world. So why? Why her? Why now? Unfortunately, I can't give you the answers to why death comes, to why it comes to any one of us at any given time. If I could, I can guarantee I would be the wealthiest human being on the planet, for sure. There's actually a whole line of study around this. It's called the Odyssey. And it is trying to answer the question, why do bad things happen to good people? The Odyssey, people have been studying and trying to answer this question for thousands and thousands of years. The Odyssey. So I can't tell you today. I can't give you answers to the why. But what I can do is offer to you some of the things I believe to be true about death. I believe that death is not an ending, but it is simply a shift in realms. A shift in realms. Yes, there is certainly a finality that feels like an ending. There is a break in the physical presence we share with another, right? And maybe it's not a practice that you, especially Amy, were aspiring to take on. But what I believe death does for each and every one of us is it opens us up in some new and fairly unfamiliar ways. It opens us to be on the lookout for the spirit, the essence of another in ways that one's physical presence never would allowed for. Amy, family, friends, Philippa isn't gone. I believe that in my absolute, the core of my being, the deepest parts of my heart and soul. Her physical body, the vessel that held her soul and her spirit and everything that you loved about her, mesh shorts, great hygiene, as I'm told. The sort of messy physical vessel that held all of what was important. That may be gone, but she is not. Brooke just said something to the effect that Philippa changed the world one small act at a time, and everybody who spoke today sort of spoke to that. The small, the seemingly insignificant, the unassuming ways that Philippa carried herself in the world. What I would say is that she is not gone, and what she has now done in leaving the physical vessel, as she has put out to each and every one of you, campers and students and dog lovers and family and friends and advocates and justice seekers. She has now put that call upon your hearts, upon your spirits. It is now your time to take the lessons and the love and the grace that she brought into the world and to change the world one small act at a time. You see, I can't tell you. I can't give you the answers to why death, why her, why now. But what I can say is that I believe there is nothing, not life, nor death, nor angels, nor principalities, nor things past, nor things present, nor things to come. There is nothing about this world that will ever separate any one of us from the love of God and from our love that we share. Let us pray together. Gracious and loving God, in the quiet of these moments, we pause. We pause to give you thanks. We're grateful for the gift of life that each and every one of us has received. We are so grateful for life's wonders and for its mysteries. Grateful for life's joys, for the friendships we share, for life's challenges, and for all of the ties which bind us together as human beings. We thank you. We thank you for your loving and patient presence in our lives, even when we may not be aware of it, whereby you teach us your truth and your way through the varied experiences by which we pass. We give thanks that we are able to recognize life's meaning, even when that meaning may reside in the very heart of sorrow and loss. And we're grateful for your guiding hand along life's journey. We thank you especially today for the gift and the goodness of Philippa Scott, for all the amazing, wonderful, beautiful ways in which she touched the lives of those gathered, and for all the gifts that she gave to us and to this world. God of love, on this sad yet joyous day of remembrance, we look to you for hope. Help us to be content to release Philippa to you, believing that death is but a gateway to what cannot be a lesser life. It's just a life, a shift of realms. Help us to understand your ways of love and grace, which really do lie beyond our present understanding. We ask too, O God, that you might spare each of us from living too long in the past. Rather, we ask that you would help to teach us to celebrate the past which has been precious to us, and to let go of any lingering hurts. Help us to live out our days gently and with others, and to trust that you will never be far from us, until by your call we are reunited in everlasting joy with those who have gone before us. In your name we pray. Amen.
myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary, come to me. Speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me. Speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, oh, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the broken-hearted people living in the world agree, there will be an answer, let it be. For though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, oh, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. And when the night is cloudy, there is still a light that shines on me. Shine until tomorrow, let it be. I wake up to the sound of music. Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, oh, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, oh, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be.
As we close today, I want to let you know that each of you is invited to the corner pug, most appropriate, for some time of food and fellowship and continue this time of memory and joy and sharing with one another. So please join Amy and one another at the corner pug immediately following this service. I chose for our benediction to share with you the prayer of St. Francis. Some of you know or may know that St. Francis is the patron saint of animals. Patron saint of animals. And I feel like this prayer that St. Francis put out into the world might be a prayer that that Philippa, your magical missing part, that Philippa might be praying for us, some of her desires for us as we go forth. So let us receive now the benediction. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let us sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that we may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we ourselves are pardoned. And it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. May it be so. Amen.